Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to stately Vaughan Manor. And today, it's something exciting and thrilling. It's a mail haul of adventure, that's right. Roger, he can't buy any books himself, but some other folks have decided to buy books for Roger. Hey, there's nothing I can do about that. If people want to buy books, I can't stop them. So, while Roger and I are on the 500 book challenge where we can't buy any new books until I've read 500 books I already own, some other people have taken it upon themselves to send me books. What am I to do? Anyway, now, there is one exception, of course. I've talked about it before many times for the 500 book challenge, and that is comic books are not included in the 500 book challenge. So Roger has free reign to buy comics. So there are some comics I'll be showing you today. So today I've got some comics to show you, and I've got some books that came in the mail from some different kind-hearted people who watch my dumb channel. So yeah, there's no accounting for taste, but you know, it benefits us. So anyway, let's talk about the stuff Roger got first. The comic books. I've got a few different comic books to show you today. So, I don't know if you saw this, but I'm doing this thing called the Superman Challenge. The Superman Challenge, where basically I just have to read 22 to 35 to 40 pages of Superman every day. Every day I'm reading Superman. Every single day. And I'm going to for as long as I physically can. Now this means I can't run out of Superman. I mean, I already have tons of Superman, but you know what, just to be on the safe side, Roger and I decided we better make sure I don't run out. So we picked up a couple of things that are Superman. And I'll show this stuff and then I'll get to the book mail. So first is this. This is Superman from the 30s to the 80s, which is an anthology volume that is all in glorious black and white. So this is an update. Rhonda, can't you see I'm making a video? Jeez, hold on. Listen, you wretched beast. What are you growling at? Is somebody daring to walk by the manor? We can't let that happen. Listen, I've got lots of books and comics to talk about, okay? Yes, so let me get to that. Here you go. Go and be evil. All right, where was I? Superman from the 30s to the 80s. So this is an updated edition of what was previously, or what had been previously, Superman from the 30s to the 70s. I have that volume as well, but back in the 80s they decided to update it. This is all pre-John Byrne, I think. When was this published? 83. So this was published in 1983, before John Byrne got his hands on Superman and changed, you know, everything. So this was kind of cool. It seems to have some different stories in it than the earlier volumes. So, you know, Superman anthology, that's cool. Also got, this is a very famous story from the 1970s. This is Superman, Kryptonite, Nevermore. Kryptonite, Nevermore. So this was written by Denny O'Neil. It does have Kurt Swan artwork in it. And Denny O'Neil is a comic book writer who wrote a lot of Batman, and he wrote The Question, and he did the short-lived but fantastic Shadow comic book. Denny O'Neil is really good with street-level crime, vigilante kind of stuff. But he has troubles, he has some troubles with superpowered characters. And so he had troubles with Superman. So this is a gripe that you hear a lot from certain writers of comic books where it's like, oh, Superman's so powerful. I can't possibly come up with creative, interesting stories when you just have a guy who's so powerful, because my imagination isn't powerful enough, say these writers. So what do? They do what Denny O'Neil did, and they made Superman, well, they did make him invulnerable to kryptonite temporarily, but they also made him less powerful. Because Denny O'Neil, he couldn't have a super powered Superman running around. This is a thing writers do when they lack the imagination to actually write a Superman story. Because, listen, if you're having trouble writing stories about Superman because he's too powerful, well, guess what? Other writers have been doing it for years and years and years and been doing great stories. So it's your problem, not Superman's. I'm just saying. But anyway, this is a very popular story, a very famous story, and I've only read part of it. I've never read all the issues, so now I have this fantastic hardcover and I can read the whole story. Maybe it's awesome. We'll see. This one is extra awesome. You know what? Everybody who watches Epic Comic Book Wednesday has been wondering when the hell we're actually going to be talking about the original World's Finest, considering we do our World's Finest team up every week. So we'll see. So we've got the Silver Age Volume 1 of the World's Finest. So this I just got. I did have this once before, but I gave it away because I was planning on buying the World's Finest Omnibus. And then it turned out the omnibus was out of print and it's like way expensive. So I had to get this again. Oops. See, this is the thing. This is why, I can't include comics in the 500 book challenge, because if you don't get them when they come out, you'll never get them, these reprint volumes. Some of them anyway. But I was lucky to get this. Okay, I don't know what happened there. My camera automatically just stopped filming. Is this some sort of curse? He's always trying to get at me ever since this challenge thing started. Anyway, what was I before this thing mysteriously stopped? Oh, I was talking about Adventures of Superman by Gil Kane. So Gil Kane is one of the greatest comic book artists of all time, and this collects a bunch of Superman stories that were illustrated by the great Gil Kane. Gil Kane was fantastic, and this actually has a series of stories about Brainiac and the updated version of Brainiac. It's cool stuff, and Gil Kane was an amazing artist. So, yeah, this is cool. And let's get to the book mail. So, this stuff all came from other people. Roger and I are in no way responsible for these books, but they're pretty interesting and pretty cool, so let's talk about them. First, I probably already showed this at some point, but this is Blade. Looters of Tharn. Blade, Looters of Tharn by Jeffrey Lord. Jeffrey Lord, I'm sure that's his real name. Anyway, this was sent me this was sent to me by Greg of Another Bibliophile Reads, another booktuber, a fantastic one. You should definitely watch Greg, because he's great. And he is a fan of this series. And so he sent me this so I could read it at Garbogust, for Garbogust this year. So thank you again, Greg. I'm sure I talked about this at some point. I kind of vaguely remember that I did. So there's that. Blade. And I also got some other stuff. So friend of the show, viewer, Douglas, I'm just going to use his first name because I don't know if he wants me to use his name, was upset and traumatized by the fact that since I've switched all the books that I'm reading for the challenge to physical books, there were two books suddenly I was missing for the Edgar Rice Burroughs deep dive. I was missing a couple books since I didn't have them physically. Well, and I can't buy them because I'm on the challenge. But Douglas came to my rescue. Thanks, my friend, because he sent me two different books. The first one that showed up is The Man-Eater. The Man-Eater by Edgar Rice Burroughs. For the Edgar Rice Burroughs deep dive, The Man-Eater. And this is a print-on-demand copy, which is one good thing about print-on-demand is that they do reprint a lot of this old stuff, or they can reprint this stuff that you just, otherwise can't find copies of. This is readily available in ebook form, but I didn't have a physical copy of it, and now I do. And that's cool. It's one of Edgar Rice Burroughs' shorter tales. But I did notice that it has a disclaimer in it that I kind of feel like I should use for every one of my videos, particularly about, you know, people that wrote 100 years ago, like Edgar Rice Burroughs, because I still get questions about, you know, well, what about, you know, his views on this and that, and what about the controversy of, how he expressed himself regarding this and that. And it's like, okay, yeah, it was, this guy wrote 100 years ago. And so this disclaimer I should just use on every video. This book is a product of its time, and it does not necessarily reflect the same views on race, gender, sexuality, ethnicity, and interpersonal relations as it would if it were written today. So, yeah, interpersonal relations. I could say that word. Barely. I could barely speak. But yeah, this disclaimer I should just flash up on the screen whenever I'm talking about any of these old-timey writers that I'm talking about literally all the time. So that was The Man-Eater. But the other Edgar Rice Burroughs book that I was missing is this one. This is The Girl from Ferris's. Edgar Rice Burroughs' The Girl from Ferris's. It is about the oldest profession. The oldest profession. So I think she's a plumber or something. I'm not... What is the oldest profession? You've been around a while. It's not a... Rogers says it's not a plumber. I don't know what it could be, but this is about the oldest profession, whatever that is. And I guess The Girl from Ferris's does that, whatever that is. And this is a change of pace for Edgar Rice Burroughs. He's usually writing about, you know, adventure and daring do and excitement. And this is some sort of drama type book, which I never had physically and never really felt the need to read because of this serious change of pace for Edgar Rice Burroughs. But I'm doing a deep dive, so it's good that I have this. I need to read it and just see what it's all about. It could be fantastic. And even if it sucks horribly, it's only 160 pages long, so it should take no time at all to read this. As soon as I'm done with the book that I'm reading now, the book about Thomas Cromwell, which has taken me forever to read. It's great. It's just taking forever to read because I've got like 20 minutes a day to read during the week. It sucks. Anyway, this will be what I read right after that. So thanks again, my friend Douglas, for sending that my way. This next thing is really, really impressive. It came all the way from Australia. It came all the way from Australia from our pal DDB. Thanks, my friend, for sending this all the way from Australia. So in Australia, books are worth 90 times what they're worth in America, probably, because I'm always hearing about how expensive they were. So he sent me 4 books. So altogether, it's about $4 million that he sent me. So that was generous. I appreciate it. And he sent me some cool stuff. You know, this is some cool stuff right here. Now, he sent me a book by a writer I like an awful lot. And I didn't have this book. And it's just so damn cool. This is Ramsey Campbell's The Nameless. The Nameless. So, obviously, a 1980s paperback from hell. You've got the terrifying child on fire. That's The Nameless right there. So, you know, a terrifying kid book. You know, children were really frightening in the 80s. They were more frightening during the 80s than at any other time. Because, you know, there were just horror novel after horror novel about scary kids. So, you know, this kid is particularly creepy. So, creepy kid book. It's The Nameless by Ramsey Campbell, which means it's going to be awesome because I really like this writer. Ramsey Campbell didn't have this book. Thank you so much, my friend, for sending this my way. This is particularly exciting. But he also sent me some other stuff that looks really cool. So this is crime fiction. Crime and detective fiction. He sent this my way during March Mystery Madness. Hopefully I'll have time to actually read one of these books this month. Thomas Cromwell's taken up a lot of my time. We'll see. Let's see. We've got Peter Temple, Bad Debts, a Jack Irish novel. So Jack Irish is some crime fiction guy. Is he a detective? He's probably a detective. So, oh, it's Jack Irish Book 1, a classic thriller by the winner of UK Crime Writers Association Gold Dagger. Wow. Nice. Now, I think this is Australian. Is it Australian or was it just printed in Australia? Let's see. I think it is. I think he's Australian, but we'll see. We'll see when I read the book. But I really appreciate it. This is cool. I've never read this author before. Definitely never read this book. So, yeah, fantastic. I hope I have a chance to read this one before the month is up. Otherwise, I'll read it next month. But it's really cool that this was sent my way. Now, this next one has fantastic cover. Fantastic cover. This is Arthur W. Upfield, Winds of Evil. Winds of Evil. Look at that. This is a cover that Criminale could appreciate, I think. Look at that. Winds of Evil. This is a detective story, and it's an older one, I think. This one was published originally published, this printing was from 1980, but it was originally published in 1937. And another Australian mystery novel. So pretty cool. Thanks, man. This is awesome. I look forward to reading all of these. And next, we've got Peter Corris, Appeal Denied. Appeal Denied. A Cliff Hardy novel. Never read a Cliff Hardy novel before. Never read Peter Corris, Appeal Denied. Never even heard of it. So, fantastic. I appreciate it, man. So all of these books are awesome. I'm happy to have all of these. That's fantastic. So, thanks again, DDB, for spending $9 gazillion to send this stuff from Australia to the United States. That's really generous. I really appreciate it. So, one more thing. Just one more thing in this Mail Hall of Adventure. And it's really, really cool. It's Roger's favorite magazine, out for issue number 9. It is Occult Detective Magazine, issue number 9. Yes, it's finally out. There was some delay on this one. But it is Occult Detective Magazine. I just literally got this. Was this yesterday or the day before? But I just did get it. And it looks really cool. Over 200 pages of great new fiction, reviews, and articles. This is a dynamite magazine. It's fantastic. You should all buy Occult Detective Magazine. And there are 2 editors to this fantastic magazine. And Dave Brzezinski, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, sent me this copy. And the other editor is John Linwood Grant. So, awesome. Roger spends a lot of time reading this magazine. And I like this magazine so much that Roger and I are going to be doing a whole video on this magazine in the near future, talking all about it and its fantastic features. Yeah, so, you know, you can get this magazine. I think you can get at least most of the issues. I'm not sure if you can get them all, but I've got a few of them, but I don't have the earlier issues. I'm gonna have to check and see if those are available. Not that we can buy them, but yeah, Occult Detective Magazine. It's fantastic. It's fantastic, and the brand new issue is out, and apparently they're working on issue number 10 right now. So maybe there won't be quite a long as a wait for the next issue. But yeah, I really appreciate that. That's fantastic. I appreciate everybody sending all of those things. Remember, you never have to send anything to me. You don't have to do that, but you know, I appreciate it, of course. And yeah, I look forward to reading all that stuff. Fantastic. Okay, guys, that's all I have to say for today. Roger and I will return in the near future. We're going to have a video about Richard Matheson, because it's been a while since we talked about Richard Matheson. What else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about some other stuff too. More Robert E. Howard, you know, more H.P. Lovecraft, all that good old stuff, you know. Manly Wade Wellman. Going to have a video on Manly Wade Wellman coming up. Oh, the excitement. Okay, guys, I will catch you next time.